Next here tonight, we have an update on what's happening at the local VA healthcare system after reports of significant job cuts at the VA hospital in Buffalo earlier this year. Veterans, advocates, and sources within the local VA have told me that care has been impacted, something the Veterans Affairs Department has denied. Well, I've filed multiple FOIA, or Freedom of Information Act requests, and here are the latest numbers from the federal government. When President Trump took office on January 21st, there were 2,180 employees at the local VA. As of May 12th, that number was down to 2,142, so 38 fewer employees. That's just a 2% reduction in the workforce. One source told me that that's, quote, laughable, and that the cuts have been more severe. We do know the VA plan is to trim 15% of the workforce nationwide. Tonight, we're sharing the voice of a Marine Corps veteran who oversees veterans' health for the New York Health Foundation. I talked to him about those VA cuts and other challenges facing veterans every day. We've heard from lots of veterans in Western New York concerned about cuts to the local VA medical center. I have filed a couple of open records requests with the federal government. I've gotten a couple of different responses, the latest of which sort of downplays and minimizes the number of positions that have been eliminated within the local VA. What are you hearing about federal cuts within the VA system?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for doing that work. 'Cause I think it's incredibly important. What I'm hearing, it's kind of threefold. So one, there are the actual cuts to VA that we're seeing nationwide and its impact on veterans. We're also seeing non-VA cuts. So for instance, the Department of Justice canceling grants that focus on veterans that are involved with the justice system, and then also cancellation of contracts and projects with universities like Harvard that focus on suicide prevention methods. And there's also just the confusion, as you mentioned. I think a lot of folks know that the VA is staffed by a lot of veterans themselves, and veterans are overrepresented in the federal workforce as well. So it's also just a confusion whether there is a cut or not, whether these veterans are going to have jobs the next day, or whether they're going to have a steady sense of employment. Those are the three things that we've been seeing and are really concerned about.
Have you heard from any veterans across New York who have complained about the change in health care that they're getting within the VA as a result of potential cuts?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's kind of twofold. One, there are veterans that are just worried, like maybe I should just look for care elsewhere, or maybe I don't want to burden the VA if another veteran needs care more than I do. But also there have been a lot of cancellations, a backlog of appointments that we've seen nationwide. And just to give you an example, in Montrose, New York, just up the Hudson River from us here in Manhattan, there were 2,200 rheumatology appointments that were actually canceled because of shortage of staff and funding as well.
The Trump administration has said that there will be no impact on veteran care as a result of cuts, but we believe that more positions will be eliminated in the future, right? That's what we've sort of been telegraphed. Are you concerned about that moving forward?
Absolutely. So there was an internal VA memo that had a goal of roughly 80,000 positions that would be eliminated at VA. So there is that looming threat. It was an internal memo. The Secretary of VA has gone on record saying that, that's just a goal. So we're not really, holding ourselves accountable to that. But I think a lot of veterans and folks that work in VA have seen that and are concerned. And I think that's the larger issue is there's just not a lot of certainty right now. And this is at a time when things on the whole aren't really going great for a lot of healthcare options for veterans. For instance, suicide prevention is a focal point of us at the foundation and a lot of folks in the veteran community. But we need an all hands on deck effort, and VA does a lot of that work for us. So not knowing if they're going to be able to provide services to the extent that they have in the past is very concerning for a lot of folks.
Has your organization reached out to leadership at the VA to try to get clarity on all this? And if so, have you gotten a response?
So I think that's the issue there. We have asked a lot of folks, and it's just the uncertainty. There's nothing, written in black and white that says this is exactly what's going to happen. We're just seeing some ideas that are tossed around, and that uncertainty is really making it hard to understand where folks like us or others in the community that are filling these gaps that VA provides, how best we can serve veterans, what is going to happen in the next year or so that we can better understand what those issues are and how we can all collectively come together to help out.
What are we here in New York State doing well in caring for our veterans, and not just healthcare, but overall sort of wellness? You talked about mental health care, about suicide prevention. What are we doing well, and what are we not doing well?
Well, one thing I tell folks is we're in the midst of a suicide epidemic nationwide, and especially for veterans. We see rates of suicide for veterans about twice the rate of our civilian counterparts. And Western New York in particular, I would shout them out. One of the highest concentrations of veterans throughout the state, but also we've seen, just talking to community partners, food insecurity is handled pretty well there. There are amazing organizations like Veteran One Stop Center and Veterans Treatment Courts that both founded and started in Buffalo that have a really great comprehensive approach. I think a lot of folks think, oh, well, if we just do mental health care, if we just do food insecurity, that'll work. And it does help to an extent, but we realize these are very complex issues. And New York, and Western New York in particular, does a great job of providing all of those sources in one location.
What is your sort of advice to a veteran who is struggling with something and who needs a place to turn?
If there is a veteran that's struggling, I just want to let them know that you're not alone. I'm a veteran myself. I served in the Marine Corps, served in Iraq, and sometimes things get tough. And I think one thing that I really leaned on, in New York State, to your previous question about kind of what's working, we have a really great peer mentor system, the Joseph P. Dwyer program throughout the state. And if a veteran is struggling, know that there's folks out there that help. I would recommend reaching out to your fellow peers. Maybe the Joseph P. Dwyer Network, Veterans One Stop Center in Western New York is a great wraparound kind of one-stop shop for a lot of those services. And the research is very clear. About 70-90% of folks that use mental health care see benefits, and it works very effectively. I've been in therapy for ages myself, and really try to let folks know that there are resources available out there to them, and that you're not alone. This is something that a lot of folks, even outside of the veteran community, we have a lot of these similar interests and also issues that we can kind of learn from each other, and hope folks realize that they're not alone, and there are people and great community service providers and VA that are providing resources that can help them.
Eric Coy, a Marine Corps veteran with the New York Health Foundation, running the Veterans Program. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.